Hello, everyone. Welcome to the market simulation call for summer 2021 release. My name is Anshuman Verde. I'm your market simulation coordinator, and today is July 15th. Call and webinars are recorded for stakeholder convenience, allowing those who are unable to attend to listen to the recordings after the meeting. The recordings will be publicly available on the ISO webpage following the meetings. The recordings and any related transcription should not be reprinted without the ISO permission. We'll talk about the following agenda today. We'll talk about map stage availability. We'll talk about the remaining market simulation initiatives for summer 2021 and the timelines. We'll talk about the initiatives separately. And we'll talk about the system interface changes that are coming with this release and what items are remaining for that. Then we'll talk about the next steps. So currently we don't have any map stage maintenance, and you can find up-to-date map stage availability information on portalmap.kaiser.com. Anybody has any questions regarding map stage availability? All right, moving on. So currently we have deployed the Resource Advocacy Enhancements Track 1 OMS changes to production also. They should be activated as per in the morning of today's date. We have moved the market simulation for summer 2021 readiness for scenario 8A and 8B to 7/22. And the go live date has been pushed to July 29th also. Any questions regarding these changes?
Hi, can you explain why this was pushed back?
We haven't received a full code from our vendors. So as per the code delivery dates, we have to push these market simulation dates too.
Okay, so I've been working on this initiative for our team, and this is Christy from SRP, and the dates keep getting moved, and we don't find out till after the date is already over. So can you let us know ahead of time so that we're not continually submitting bids and trying to test this and then having to retest?
I can keep that in mind, Christy, and these dates are changing. I just got to know these dates today morning when our counterpart from our vendor told us about this. But as soon as I have this information, I would make sure that I will let you guys know what's happening.
So I'm just curious, if the test date was supposed to be the 13th, I don't know why you're finding out after the 13th that you don't have the code. I guess I'm just confused on why we're scheduling for dates that we know we don't have the code ready.
Great point, Christy. Let me just reiterate. So the 7/13 date was for PT export functionality that is part of this release. This particular release has three parts to it. One is the PT export functionality. Then the second part is has post-process functionality and CERA changes. So CERA changes and PT export functionality, we started testing on 7/13. And the second part, that is the hash post-process part, that has been pushed to 7/22. And if you can see the scenario 8A and 8B, they both refer to the hash post-process part. So that's why the structured simulation for these two scenarios had to be pushed to 7/22.
Understood, but I think, that's what we've been testing and retesting, and I'm just, can you send us kind of a notification of beforehand so that we're not testing when it's not a date we're gonna get good results?
See, I can definitely send you that information, and in the last meeting, I made it clear that we would be testing only the PT export functionality on 7/13 and not the hash post process. I also mentioned that the date we were talking about, is highly, it's at risk that we will not be able to test hash post-process. I didn't have exact information at that point, but I did know that we were running a risk of pushing hash post-process dates ahead in the future.
Okay,
but
thank you.
I will try my best to keep that in a.
Right, I think
ahead.
it would be helpful to have that on the slides and in the notes, just in an email too, if it does get moved, just so that we're not, you know, testing things that are not ready, and we're all on the same page with what to test when.
Understood. And I will make sure that I send you an email of any further changes regarding these dates.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions that I can answer here? All right. Moving on. This is the scenario descriptions for the scenarios that I was just talking about, scenario 8A and B, where 8A and B are related to the post-hash process, and scenario 9 is related to the CETA changes. Any questions regarding the scenario description? Go ahead, Jenny.
Hi, Instrument. Can you hear me? Yeah. Sorry, I was on mute. I agree with Christy's point. It is, I mean, I kind of hope that CAISO can do better to give more advance notice, because we have been pretty much an assemble. I mean, the good thing that I always check with you, but still it is like last time it's giving the 15-day, but we will know that until, you know, this meeting, then it's kind of late, right? So if in the future release, if CAISO can do better in terms of at least give a few days of notice if it's going to be delayed, that would be really, really helpful. I mean, we've been stressed this point for the summer, and also on the summer. This summer, it's on everything. It's under very tight schedule, but something probably can be also improved there. I do have a question for the PD export and CERA change. So now with the hash post process going to be go live for July 29, when are those two going to go live? The PD export and the CERA changes?
As per my current information, Chunu, all of these are going to go together.
Oh, okay. Good to know. Thank you. And
Chunu,
also,
go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I say also for the July 22nd, can we possibly know, because typically we will put it in the day ahead bits as well on the 21st. It's possibly we can know by the 20th, end of the day, 20th, whether the 22nd will be a good day. I mean, I understand you have to get things from the vendor, but maybe you can ask the vendor to give you advance notification as well.
I can definitely do that to you. I will try to get as much information and as much commitment from our vendor that I can get, and I will relay that information back in our next call.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I do take your point that it's been hard on market participant sides to schedule all these market simulation activities and having to move these market simulation activities on further days. I have taken note of it, and I've also already escalated these requests from market participants up the chain, and I will again point out these requests again, and I will let everyone know here on the CAISO side.
Thank you. Thanks for understanding.
Thank you. Any other questions that we can talk about here?
Hey, this is Noah Tung from Middle River Power. Just a question on the interaction between CERA and the pro rata allocation for the RA versus non-RA export. It once that allocation has occurs, does that change sort of the cyber side, or do they talk to each other?
I'll have to defer to my SME for that. Let me see if my SME is on the call. Firdaus, are you on the call, or Sandhya, would you have an answer to this? I guess not. Could you please log a CD ticket so that I can talk to my SME and get back to you on that?
Yeah, I'll talk to my SC about that. And I'm trying to get a better handle as well on, can you shed some light on what the changes are that you're not seeing coming in from the vendor on the post-house process? Which aspect are they sort of stuck on and not passing your validations or whatnot? Hello?
So Noah, could you put that in CD ticket and we'll get back to you. We'll provide you an answer to your question.
Well, I'm just simply trying to get a better understanding for all of us on what the vendor is failing at this point. Just, you can't talk about it?
I do not have the details at this point, but if you have something specific, like the question that you asked about cyber and CIRA interaction, if you can send us a CD for that, we'll get back to you on that.
Yes, I can do that, but I'm wondering if you can answer the second question, or anyone can answer the second question.
At this time, I believe they're still going through the testing, so we don't have specific details that we can share regarding what's breaking. Anshuman,
Okay.
Is that the right understanding you will have as well?
That's correct, Sandhya. And I'm sorry, I guess my audio connection was dropped, so whatever I was speaking was not going through. So I was mentioning, thank you, Sandhya, that, go ahead and put a CD ticket for the question that you asked earlier. And regarding the changes that are not coming in from our vendor, we're just still talking about a few changes regarding the HAS post processes for the wheels. That is still under discussion, and our vendors are still coding, and that's trying to send us the full code for that functionality. So we're waiting for that.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
Thank you. Any other questions regarding the scenario descriptions for scenario 8A and scenario 9? All right, moving on. So for summer 2021 readiness, we did the PT export market simulation on July 13, and we're planning to do HAS post-process market simulation on July 22nd, as I mentioned earlier. The business requirement specification document and structured scenario documents are available here if you want to go and review. Any other questions that I can talk about for summer 2021 readiness? All right.
This is Christy again. I just want to make sure I understand the difference between the two. Is the one from the 13th, is that scenario 8A, or is that?
It is not. Scenario 8A and 8B both are related to HAS post-process. For PT export functionality, it is the prioritization of import and export resources, and that is part of section 5.1.1 in the BRS. Everything in that section except the HAS post-process part.
Okay, so we have the functionality to submit PT exports, including wheel through export legs, but the HAS post-processing that occurs after the market run is not in yet.
That is my understanding from my
Okay, all right. So really, we just need to redo 8A and B, it sounds like, for the 22nd.
That is correct. All right. Any other questions that we can talk about here? All right. Moving on. So this is an OMS summer release timeline, and all the items on this list have been deployed to map stage and to production. This is just an FYI for everyone. Any questions on this summer release timeline for OMS?
How's the deployment going?
It is already performed in the morning. It is all done.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? All right, moving on. So for summer 2021 system interface changes, we are still waiting for the cyber changes to go in production, and we hope that to put it in production by 7/22. Rest, all the changes have already gone in to map stage in production, and the technical specification for them are also listed over here. Any questions on the system interface changes?
Yes, Enchman, you mentioned the cyber, it's going to production on the 22nd. Are those cyber changes related to the HAS post process? If they are, then...
Let me check with Trang. Trang, would you mind giving more information on that?
So the cyber changes that are there are for the summer readiness, export, load, and wheeling. Does that answer the question? Okay.
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you, Trang. Any other questions?
Wait, I'm still confused. You're going to deploy those codes into production at 22nd or 29th?
Trang, do you have an answer to this? I think these are system interface changes, but the functionality will not go live on 22nd.
Yeah, so Chanyu, I'll update that to be by the 29th, and then let me confirm if it will be any sooner than that.
Okay, thank you. I want to make sure we're on the same page on this, because I understand those changes are for the, for the phase 4. And so the production day should be same as the go live day, as what Enchman just announced as the 29th. Thank you.
Yes. Thanks, both.
Thank you, Chanyu, to confirm that.
Hey, Trang,
other thoughts or concerns?
Sorry, Anshman.
Yes,
this is Stanley. This is Stanley with PCI. So, are we saying the cyber changes are in map stage, or they're going to go into map stage on the 22nd? Sorry, I missed that at the very beginning of that.
But that is, we were talking about the production deployment date. The cyber changes are already in map stage right now, and they were deployed on 7/9.
Okay, they did go in on 7/9. Okay. All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Hi, this is Noah Tong from Middle River again. Just a question on when do you expect sort of your next drop in map stage for the post-task process?
So we already have the code for scenario 8A, and we just received it and we are testing it.
Okay.
Hopefully we can definitely test it for 7/22, and we're waiting for the code drop for 8B. I don't have a fixed date for when we will get that particular code piece for 8B.
It's okay. So do you then sort of expect, at least on the 20th, I think that's the next call, to update those of us who are testing, 8A and 8B on whether or not it's a go no go, or because there's no more communication, right, between the 20th and 22nd, unless you send out something between then.
That's correct. I would have more concrete information on the next call. That is on 7/19.
Oh, I'm sorry, 7/19. You're right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Inchman. I have one more question. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to ask, we did receive a notification the first time this was delayed to production, and I was curious if there was going to be another notification sent out to all the participants.
Let me get more information on the notification, but I could send an email out to all the participants who were participating in summer release to let them know about the date.
Right, I think I'm
right?
more the production go live notification delay.
All right, Trang, would you have more information on this point?
Yeah, so thanks. So I think that we're referring to the notice that went out the Saturday, the 17th, about the delay of the summer readiness components to move no later than the 30th. And I think that we can plan on sending a notice out for when we confirm the activation date for the remaining components. Are you also looking for more information on if there's a further delay, or just a confirmation of the activation once that's been done?
I think at a minimum, just when it's been done or when it's planned for, since it is changing, because I think the last notice, from what I remember, said the 20, it said a different date, but then it was saying the last.
Yeah, it said, yeah, I think it communicated a target of 7/20, even though we filed for no later than July 30th. So that was that notice, and then I think we can work with the team to confirm and send out a notice once the activation is complete. And so I think that we can plan on that notice. And if there's any other information that we need as far as whether there are delays and things, I don't think that we'll plan on sending any other notices for any shift up through from now until the activation, if that helps.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
Okay, thanks. Yeah.
Hi, Inchman. I have a couple more questions. This is Chunyu. So under summer readiness for the system Oasis, the schedule by type, has that been activated?
So I can take this to Chunyu and Inchman. So for Oasis in production, that new report is not active, but the issue that we were that was open, that was preventing us from activating that, has since been resolved, and we are planning another production QRB vote to be able to activate that report. So at this point, it's likely that that will be active in production next week, pending the final production readiness approval, but the issue that was preventing that is resolved.
Okay, so sounds like there is some issue with that, and we need to go through another testing, or is that just? I guess I'm a little lost here.
Yeah, so we mentioned this in the past where there wasn't an issue with that specific report, but when we activated that, that indirectly caused a data issue as far as the totals on an existing OASIS report. So that issue has been resolved and is going to map stage today. But again, that report itself, the new one for the summer readiness, is not impacted, but you're welcome to, again, retest anything and review OASIS in that stage tomorrow. I believe, again, the fix is either going to that stage today or is already there. And then for production, we'll also move that same fix. And then I think that fix is also planned for
today in production, and then the activation itself to populate the new report with data will be planned for likely next week.
Okay, thanks for the clarification. Another question I do have is also for the cyber API that about their head in real time, the price ceiling. I noticed that still TBD. Is CAISO has further information on that?
Chen-Yun, thanks for bringing that up again. So at this point, unfortunately, we don't have more information on that as far as the ETAs or the tech spec goes. The data remains available in the UI, that same data. And for the APIs, the team is prioritizing making sure that we get the remaining components for summer readiness in before we, circle back and continue with that remaining for 831 cyber item.
Okay,
so,
thanks.
Sure. Yep.
And the tech spec has or has not been published?
It has not been. It has not.
Okay.
Yeah, we plan on upcoming tech spec hopefully by this week or before next Tuesday's TUG for the cyber changes for fall, namely ESDR, and then also that would include this this enhancement for the DA real-time ceiling as well, but it has not been posted yet.
Okay, thank you for the information. It's always helpful.
Thank you so much for asking. Any other questions that we can talk about here? All right, moving on. I guess that's all I have for today's conference. I'm going to extend this market sim calls for even for next week. So you would see a calendar invite on CAISO website soon enough for July 19th and the date after that for next week. Based on that, yeah, I'll stop here now. Wait for any other questions that we can answer here.
Hey, Anshuman, it's Stanley with PCI again.
Hi, Stanley. Go ahead.
Can you help us get a response on a city ticket? It's 239501. We've got some questions out.
Down.
Yeah, it's 239501. It's been outstanding for a few weeks. We just need some questions answered from a process perspective on some of the summer items, so we can confirm our code is correct.
All right, sounds good. Let me follow up on that today.
Okay, yeah, and I think I've sent some additional information to Steve Daynard as well. I don't know if he's added anything to the ticket on y'all's end, but he's got some additional information from us on that topic.
Sounds good.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other thoughts and concerns? All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining today's call. We'll see you back again on July 19th.